Young stars shine and good teams crumble in the third week of the NBA season. As I'm joined by Liam, and we're going to go over some of the big news topics from this week. Obviously, we've seen the likes of the Bucks, the Celtics, the Hawks, three teams that were predicted to be very high up in the Eastern Conference standings have just failed so far. And also the Lakers, they're struggling as well. We'll get into that with a bit more depth. So, Liam, take us through our first point.
First of all, I think we talked about him last week on the channel, and he goes by the name of Jordan Poole on the Golden State Warriors. He's just continuing to shine. He's averaging the 18 points, about the 2 rebounds, about the 3 assists, but he's dropping 20 night in, night out, and he's becoming a very good asset for the Warriors this season in the absence of Klay Thompson for the first half of the season. Again, today he dropped 25 points against the Rockets, and he's just showing why he should stay in the starting lineup even when Clay gets back. But again, we have to wait and see what happens there. And another name that came through, Gary Payton Jr. He took, you could say, social media by a bit of storm a few days ago in the Warriors game. I believe it was against the Pelicans. He played incredible defense, and he got something that was very rare for a point guard. I believe he's only about 6'1", but he got a standing dunk poster that took just social media by storm, and he has looked very good in the last week, and hopefully he carries it on. But yeah, again, the Warriors, they're sitting at 8-1. I think they have the best record in the NBA, and they're looking as strong as ever as Steph continues his MVP run that he's been on so far to start this season.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to Luka Doncic. As I said, the young stars blossom, and he is the probably the front of that young star group. He's a top 10 player in the league. He is honestly potentially a top five going off how he's played so far this season. He's averaging the 25, 8, and 7 assists. He's not shooting the best compared to normal. He's only shooting the 28%, which is 6% below league average. But he is shooting 44% from the field, which is just below league average as well. But what do you expect when he's taking the amount of shots that he's taking? And we'll talk about his game against Boston the other day. 33 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, a block to his name. And he shot 50% from 3 on 5 for 10 shooting. So a monster performance capped off by a stupid shot that should never have gone in. Rainbow of all rainbows just looped it up. It was almost like a skyhook from 3. And it was, yeah, very, very good to see.
We'll now move on to a few results that came through today, and it was an upset galore, you could say. The Cavs bet the Knicks in one that I did not see coming. The Magic bet the Jazz, and the Wizards bet the Bucks. We'll touch on the Cavaliers first. They're sitting at 7-4. I look at the settings today, and I was just, how is this Cleveland team 7-4? Today's win, you could probably say, was off the back of Ricky Rubio's 37 points off the bench, 8 for 9 from 3. He also had the 10 assists. That off the bench is absolutely ridiculous. And the Cavs, I don't know what's going on. I haven't been paying attention to many Cavaliers games, but if they could keep this up, somehow they could manage to play him, but I don't see it lasting too much longer. I think that they'll drop down, the 11 to 15 standings we had them in the season prediction. So, yeah, again, that was one I didn't see. The Magic, they're sitting at 3-8. They're not much either, but the Jazz are a very good team. I think they're up the top in the West. And, to see that, Cole Anthony, he dropped 33, and Wendell Carter Jr. had 22 and 15 in a monster performance for both of them. And the Washington Wizards, 7-3. Do you think they're going to keep it up, or do you think they're going to slump back down?
Look, they've had a bit of a fairy tale start to the season. I don't think they're going to be able to keep it up so much to sustain a guaranteed playoff spot. I think they can well and truly fight for the seventh or eighth position as per the play-in games. But yeah, I can't see them sustaining it to the point that they're a top six seed. I don't really think that's within Washington's expectations. I think they'll be thrilled with how they've started the season for sure. Beal's only averaging the 24 points and they're still getting all these wins. So to see them going good once again after about a 3 or 4 year absence is good to see. Now, on to the Lakers. They're struggling at the moment. If you didn't know already, they are about 10th in the conference, and they're at a 50% win rate of 5-5. So they're not living up to expectations. We all thought it was going to be once again a Lakers Clippers Western Conference final. Obviously, Kawhi's out, so that's really going to challenge that. But on the Lakers side of things, what's going on? Westbrook is really, really struggling. And we'll come back to Westbrook in just a minute, but we'll talk about their last game against the OKC Thunder at home in a packed Staples Center, as it always is. And Shea came to play, as he has done so far this year. He is another one of those young stars that is just elite at the moment. And they blew a fairly comfortable lead. I think it was about 15 at one point against the Thunder. And Shea hit an absolute talk about Luka's shot. They're hand in hand. Luka was fading on the sideline with two men in his face, and Shea just pulled up from quite literally the edge of the logo and just drained a three. And there was 40 seconds left on the clock, and it was a tied game. To have that confidence, you don't see it in many young stars, and these two stars are going to take the lead by storm. And back to the Lakers with Westbrook. He is really struggling. The 19 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. You're probably thinking, well, that's pretty good. He's shooting 26% from three, which isn't really surprising given his record with shooting threes, and the 41% from the field. So he's almost making the Lakers fall apart himself.
Yeah, just on Westbrook again, the game against Portland a couple of days ago, he shot 1 for 13 from the field, and that is you can't accept that if you're a fan of the Lakers. Ever since they've come on the team, it's just been like the chemistry has just been full and ruined. And again, with LeBron being out, I'm not sure how much long he's going to be out for. But again, something needs to go right for the Lakers. And at the moment, I'm just not seeing anything going right. But now I'll move on to one of my fast-growing favorite players of the competition. And he got sent up to Toronto in the draft. He goes by the name of Scotty Barnes. He is just looking absolutely freakish. He is looking scary. The game against the Nets today, KD said, how old is he? 19, 20. Sheesh. He's just absolutely ridiculous. I saw a play or a video where he was locking up KD and they got a turnover and Toronto went down the other end and scored. And he's just looking flashy. I think I saw another video again where he took 2 dribbles from half court and dunked it from just within the free throw line. And at the moment, he's my favorite for Rookie of the Year. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to see what he can do for the rest of the year. And maybe he can pull Toronto out of the deep, dark depths out of the play-in.
And just on the Raptors and young players, not a rookie, but young players, we'll go across to Precious Achua, who at the Heat, he did play a fair few games, but he didn't really do a lot. He averaged the 12 minutes, so he didn't really get a lot of game time, but he had the 5 points, 3 rebounds, and about half a block. This season, he has developed a lot. He has played the 11 games. He's averaging the 8.5 rebounds. He's leading the Toronto Raptors in rebounds. He's averaging the 8.5 points and the 1 assist on half a block a game as well. And he's actually developed a little bit of a 3-pointer, and I think he's hit 2 so far this year, which it isn't a lot. But if he can continue to develop it, who knows what he can turn into. He has a lot of potential, and he didn't really get the best chance to show it at the Heat, as I said. So him on the Raptors is a very good sign. Now we'll move on to, we talked about the Lakers being shaky. How about the Bucks? They're almost worse in a sense, going off what they just achieved with a championship, and they're at 4-6 at the moment, and quite literally being carried by Giannis. 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. He leads the team in all 3 of those. That's not what you want from a power forward, but he's doing it, and he's making a case for MVP once again. And the Bucks, look, they're really struggling, and I'm not too sure what's going on there. If we take a look at Chris Middleton, he's struggling too. He hasn't been great. He's averaging the 20 points, which is fine for Chris Middleton, but he's shooting the 25% from 3, and he's one of their main shooters. So to see him struggling, it basically brings the whole Bucks down, as they need a superstar next to Giannis as well. So do you think the Bucks are going to turn it around soon, or do they have a little bit of internal issues to work out first?
I feel like they can turn it around, and if they need to turn it around, I feel like it needs to be very soon. As you said, Giannis, he can't do it all for the Bucks. He can't carry them all the way to the playoffs again, and I feel like they look fine. They've got the exact same team, I believe, from last year. They haven't changed anything. So again, I feel like they just need to find where they are and get back on track. And Middle needs to shoot better. Holiday needs to average more, and I feel like they need to do just that much more. They're sitting right in the play, but again, we expected them to top the conference, and I believe they can do it. But if they need to turn anything around, it needs to be in the next week or so. You'd think. We now move on to the team who's topping the Eastern Conference at the moment, and they go by the Philadelphia 76ers. And just recently, I read that the Sixers are off to their best start to a season since 2000, the 2000-2001 season, and the year that AI took them to the NBA Finals. Do you think Embiid can do it this year, or do you think that it's just going to be a hot start and they're going to drop off?
I can't see him making the finals. I think that's a bit of a stretch, even as a Sixers fan, with Ben Simmons. With the whole Ben Simmons saga, I think that hangs quite a big ring around the Sixers, and it sort of balances it out back to reality compared to the way they've been playing. And Embiid hasn't even been that great. I think he's only averaging about 22 or 23 and about 12 rebounds, something like that. So he hasn't been his normal superstar or version of himself that he was last year with his like 28 and 15 or whatever it was. So he's not the monster, but the Sixers teamwork has been very good. And they've had role players such as Furkan Korkmaz pop up, and he hit 5 from 6 threes yesterday. So yeah, they're strong, but I think they can possibly make conference finals. But after that, I think it's a little bit of a stretch while this Ben Simmons saga is still going on. If they can get someone, a shot creator, which is what they desperately need in return for Ben Simmons, if he does eventually get traded, like a CJ McCollum or something on the likes, they are a red hot crack. But otherwise, I cannot see it happening.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like the Sixers can't make it all the way. I feel like they might just drop off a little bit. But yeah, again, Embiid haven't been anything too flashy. Sorry. Seth Curry, he's been good as well. And yeah, the Sixers, they're off to a really hot start, and they're probably the most exciting team to watch nearly in the NBA. To start off the season.
For sure. And I think that wraps up today's video, unless we have any other points to go over.
Nah, I'm all done.
All sweet. So thank you all for watching. Join us next week for the next NBA video. And stay tuned for more content.
So yeah.